Okay, sorry about the delay on that. I was really smart and forgot to get timestamps, but I have all my timestamps in order now, so we should be good to go. But hello, I am Bones. This is my first time doing a live stream on YouTube, so if anything goes horribly wrong, that's on me. I am extremely technologically illiterate, so we're doing our best. But without further ado, I am going to be commentating for IJL Day 8, because it was one of the ones that I haven't watched on my own yet. So yeah, I've been doing, in case you've missed it, I've been doing commentary on Twitch, and saved some of the streams from that, to YouTube, so you can see those on my channel. Or at least some of those on my channel. I think I uploaded a couple of them. Anyway, I'm trying to make the switch over to YouTube because I'm really bad at remembering that. So, yeah, it's a process, but we're working on it. So hopefully, whatever happens, happens. But yeah, so for the first matchup today, we're going to be looking at Axis Wave versus Arneb WOG. I need to look that up, because I actually don't know how it's pronounced, but these are two really, really fun teams to watch. Personally, I've been a big fan of watching AWG. They have a lot of members that are kind of familiar, such as Chiru, who is a very, very scary female dancer. Axis Wave as well has Lim, who was originally on Sun Sisters back in Koa 5, bit of a favorite there. But yeah, I am just going to play the stream, hope that things don't go too badly, and get right into it. But round one, we're usually looking at an opera singer here, so I am going to commentate under the assumption that it will in fact be an opera singer. If I'm wrong about that, then I end up being wrong about that, but we'll see. Oh good, my chat widget's working. But yeah, hello Juliet, thank you for coming, and yeah, AWG is very, very nuts. But we are going to see Axis Wave as our survivors first. AWG Brontal is going to be hunting as our presumably opera singer. We will have the Gardener and the Wildling locked in first with Mercenary, First Officer, and Embalmer as our band so far. We're also going to lock in that Coordinator, so kind of doubling up on that Rescuer role. Bit of a Rescuer Harasser going on here, just as much survivability as possible coming out here from Axis Wave survivors. And we are going to see the Antiquarian as our final band from Brontal, as well as a Lucky Guy being locked in from Axis Wave. Lucky Guy has kind of been an unexpected meta. I feel like, most of this season is unexpected meta. But I feel like the part that surprises me the most is that Lucky Guy usually isn't one of the first two survivors. To be fair, Axis Wave does want to lock in that Gardener and that Wildling before they end up getting banned, especially that Gardener. Gardener is a pretty much, I would say, the top opera singer counter right now because of that rechargeable bubble. So she is picked very, very commonly. She is kind of a disposable first round pick there, but she does serve a very, very good purpose against the opera singer, just wasting as much time as possible, because that really is the key with these opera singer matches. Opera singer is such a powerful hunter that a lot of the time we do see survivors kind of go with these no borrowed time builds, very aggressive, like triple tied to a team, just as much survivability as they can possibly get. And having the Coordinator on the team, having the Wildling as well, Coordinator can increase a chase by a very, very long time with that gun, or assist teammates' chases as well, or teammates' kites. Wildling, obviously, is very difficult to chase, although the boar is actually not, or it's just a little bit faster than the opera singer in her dash form. But it's not that much faster. So it's interesting to watch that, because opera singers will take the Wildling as a chase, because you get presence and you don't really have to worry as much about the boar and the speed that it gives the Wildling. But getting into the spawns here, we're going to see Wildling spawn in the center, kind of working as bait there, because he is even with that in mind, even with his speed being less effective, he is still a pretty good first chase target, or pretty bad first chase target, and it's something that Axis wants to take the hunter's attention towards that Wildling. We're going to see Lucky Guy spawn up at the top of the map near the corner house. Coordinator is going to spawn in the center house, and Gardener is going to spawn near the double 11 area down near the fake gate. So pretty standard spawns we're seeing here. It looks like Brontel is going to opt to spawn near the house exit gate. And we could possibly see a Wildling first chase here. I wouldn't be too opposed to that, honestly. Having the Wildling as first chase isn't the worst option here, with, what we're keeping in mind. She can catch up to the boar, and then Wildling runs, I believe, 30% slower than other survivors, so with an Opera Singer, that is kind of ideal there. You want a slow survivor who can't get out of the way with those dashes. Lucky Guy as well would be an okay target, really depending on, because he will have that flare gun. 99% chance he will have that flare gun. It looks like we're going to bring Abnormal here on that Opera Singer, so we are going to be looking for some Cypher pressure. So I would say maybe we won't chase the Wildling first with that in mind, because he is by far the slowest decoder on the team. Having him on a Cypher wouldn't be the worst option, but looks like for our Persona webs, I kind of missed those, but for our Persona webs, it looks like we're going to have Wildling with Tide and Borrowed Time. Gardener has no Borrowed Time here. He's going to be working with Flywheel and Broken Windows. Coordinator also has that, Coordinator has Broken Windows and Borrowed Time here, and so does Lucky Guy. It looks like Lucky Guy's actually pulled out a decoy there, and we're going to head onto Lucky Guy for that first chase. Not quite able to get that decoy in, though, unfortunately. Is going to take a hit there, but was able to drop the pallet. It looks like Brontel's actually going to opt to go around, kind of try and double back here, but we're just going to break that pallet there, with not really having a way out. We're going to double back and continue this chase onto Otto. The real question here is if we're going to be able to get that decoy in play. I'm playing around this palette quite a bit, but getting out the decoy, but it's going to get terror shocked in the midst of it. That is very, very unfortunate here for Axis Wave. Under a minute into the game, we have our first down. Cyphers are not looking very good here. We do have that one Cypher past about 60%. But the other two Cyphers really aren't ideal. It does look like Wildling is going to be coming in for this rescue, is already on the boar, heading towards the chair. But it's not a great start here. It will be one Cypher popped, almost two Cyphers popped by the time we get this rescue off, or at least by the time Wildling gets to the chair, but he's kind of taking a pretty long way around. So I would say just trying to get in the area, but waste as much time as possible here. I don't think we're not going for this rescue before half, very obviously, but we are going to get those two hits off the boar here. Brontel is going to be at full presence, and we will be getting a hit in on the Wildling. Of course, Wildling does have Tide Turner, so that does waste about, a good 15-20 seconds of time here after the hit. So we aren't actually going to get a hit right away in. Otto does still have most of the graveyard to utilize, but a beautiful double back. We're actually going to miss the hit there. And, a Terror Shock over that pallet, unfortunately. Otto will be going down here for our first elimination of the match. Two Cyphers are decoded. It's really not a situation you want to be in, but it is an Opera Singer, so it is understandable that they've ended up in this situation with only two Cyphers decoded by the time the first survivor takes off. Having three Cyphers remaining, they haven't been started yet. We're about halfway through that third Cypher. It hasn't been returned to yet. So one in the center of the map that the Wildling had started at the beginning of the match, but it's not a great position you want to be in, especially against an Opera Singer. Opera Singer's greatest kind of counter is just Cypher Rush, but it looks like Brontel's actually not going to opt to use that Abnormal just yet, even though that Cypher is at 50%. We are going to just continue to look around the map. Okay, looks like we are going to use it now before continuing our next chase. We did force out a second boar from the Wildling, so that is going to make the boar time reduce even further here. And are we going to go for that Wildling? It does look like we're in the area here, but we haven't quite caught sight of anybody. Wildling using his skill to cancel that Tinnitus just for a short period of time, but it looks like we will be finding Tuna over at the corner house here. Gardener was decoding, but unfortunately is going to be interrupted by the Opera Singer, so this will be our roughly second chase of the match here. Looks like Gardener will be able to get that bubble up, at least temporarily, but it looks like Brontel's actually going to wait it out. A little bit of blocking of that area there. Beautiful usage of that pallet just to stay a little bit safer. Playing around it, mind gaming Brontel into not being able to catch up right away. Beautiful work there from Tuna. just wasting as much time as possible. We're about to be at 2 ciphers remaining, so things are looking pretty good. It was very good rotation there after that chair, just to hide as long as possible. We're going to see Flywheel, unfortunately, a little bit mistimed there. I think it might have actually been baited out by that cape throw. Opera Singer Flywheel is very, very tricky because it can be very useful, but her hitbox is so fast that timing it can be such an issue. And we're seeing that there. Tuna, unfortunately, is going to go down here. Most of the pallets in this area have already been used, so it's a little bit interesting that Tuna did decide to rotate to this area. But, of course, basement's not here, so it's a better area to go down than the corner house. Basement is in corner house, so transitioning across the map here really is the only option, especially against an Opera Singer. Your only option really is just to transition as much as you possibly can, even if, it's a little bit unfortunate that there weren't any resources in the area to use because Lucky Guy had already used them. It is what it is. But it looks like we're actually going to switch to teleport here, teleporting back to the chair. Was that the cipher or the chair? I actually didn't catch that. Either way, it looks like we are going to almost stuff this rescue here. A hit in on Yan. We still have the gun left to use, though, and with that... Oh! Doubling back there, it actually stopped the gun? I have never seen anything like that before. That is absolutely insane. The rescue is still going to go off, though. Gardner will be saved off chair. But wow, what a play there from Brontel just to avoid that gun. Unfortunately, Nyan is going to be going down momentarily. Very nice juking there. But wow, what a play. Absolutely incredible work there from Brontel. Beautiful, beautiful mind game. I had no idea that would actually work. I guess because Brontel was far away enough from the gun, so it did take a second to hit. If it was, point blank gun, that really wouldn't have worked. But yeah, just crazy, crazy work there. But we have gotten Gardner healed all the way back up. We do have 2 ciphers that are about at or past 50%, I want to say, but they haven't been returned to quite yet. Axis being a little bit cautious here. They know that Brontel A is in the area. B has teleport at least almost up. We've got about 10 seconds on teleport, but they are very conscious of that teleport, very conscious of the mobility of the Opera Singer. It looks like we are maybe going to spot out Tuna here. No, we're going to continue to just camp around this chair. We do have Tinnitus from the Gardener. Yeah, Wildling's too far away. The Tinnitus is from the Gardener over at the corner house. We're going to see that cipher shaking at least soon. So yes, it does look like we are going to return to the corner house here, just pressure the Gardener as much as possible. Getting a little bit stuck there on the edge of the shadow. Gardner able to use that time to get a bubble. But yeah, beautiful work just heading from pallet to pallet, not allowing kind of that mind game with waiting out the bubble there. But great work there from Tuna. We are going to continue the chase, and it does look like we actually managed to get Nyan off chair there. So very nice work there from the Wildling. It does look like we might actually be able to get at least down to 1 cipher, and especially without abnormal anymore, that's going to be very, very dangerous for Brontel here. We might be looking at a 3-man endgame. It might be a little bit too soon to say that, but with the Wildling taking this chase here, he is still at full health here. It looks like we have opened up another cipher over at the corner, but Brontel is going to see that, switching over to the Gardener. It really is just a matter of decoding as many ciphers at once as possible, and keeping the Opera Singer on her toes. The 2 ways to counter the Opera Singer really are just Cypher Rush and forcing her to overextend. Right now, we're trying to force Brontel to overextend, decoding, 3 ciphers at a time. We've returned to that middle cipher as well, so that'll be decoded pretty quickly. We do have accelerated decoding on our side, almost 8 minutes into the match here. And 8 minutes into the match with under a minute first down is kind of incredible here, and really it goes to show kind of the strength here of Axis Wave survivors. So very, very nicely done. I would say at this point looks like we've actually, are we stopping to heal up here? Because the cipher progress has stalled. But no, it looks like we're just caught in the midst of rotating between them. Wildling is going to take the chase. Unfortunately, Boar is not quite back up, so he will be going down here. He hasn't seen a chair yet, if I'm remembering correctly, though, so we will have a little bit more time to work with, but Basement is here, so that's not going to be an easy rescue. I would say Gardner's probably the best case scenario for that with the bubble, but it's not going to be easy either way they spin it. We do have a Cypher Prime, but it is going to be teleported on. That is going to be forced to pop here. We will be entering our end game. So looks like Gardner is actually going for this rescue here. They do need to get at least one survivor out in order for it to not be the worst case scenario, but that remains to be seen if it'll happen. Beautiful flywheel. Unfortunately, no bubble in sight here. Gardner will be going down. But teleport has already been used, and that gate is about, that gate will be open by the time Bronto's able to be going there. So congratulations to Axis Wave on the one-man escape here. Not, it is still a loss, but against an opera singer, any escapes that you can kind of get is ideal. So Nyan is just going to wait in the gate for a second here just to, make sure. Yeah, we will be exiting that gate, confirming that one-man escape here. And yes, that will be a confirmed one-man escape for Axis Wave in the first half. Yeah, pretty nicely done there, especially rebounding from the lucky guy. It's not an easy thing to do when you have a teammate that goes down in the first 55 seconds of the match. Like, that is really, really not a position you want to be in. But drawing that out to 8 minutes, really pushing for that end game there, decoding, 3 ciphers at a time, just to try and get to that end game is very, very nicely done there from Axis Wave. But we will be heading into the second half of round 1 here with AWG survivors and Axis Wave Hunter. So Axis Wave Hunter does need to get a 4-man elimination if we want to not tie this first round and kind of get, a little bit of a lead here. On the flip side, if AWG is able to get more than one survivor out the gate, looking at a draw, that will be a win for them in the first round. So if they're able to just get a 1-man escape, it will be a drawn round, which isn't the worst case scenario. Most of these matches, they do end up going to 3 rounds just because Opera Singer meta does kind of leave us in, usually with Opera Singer meta, we do end up with, 4-man, 4-man, 3-man, 4-man, very high elimination rates. That do tend to lead to a draw in the first round and then, continuing. But we'll see what happens. AWG survivors are very, very strong, so I would not put it past them to get more than just that solo escape. But, remains to be seen. Obviously, we will have our first 2 bans be the Explorer and the First Officer. We're going to lock in the Antiquarian and the Patient, as well as the Wildling with a Mercenary ban. We do want to get kind of a dedicated rescuer in there. Wildling has been the rescuer of choice, and it looks like Rise does want to just get all of the rescuers off the field as much as possible. Wildling is, a pretty... not the worst third string option here, and we will be banning that dancer specifically for Chiru because Chiru is a very, very strong dancer. That is definitely a ban that crops up in AWG matches just for that. They will play the female dancer if she is not banned. So definitely a targeted ban there, but we will be locking in that Gardner instead. Not surprising here, she is kind of a better-ish counter to the Opera Singer. It's definitely a targeted ban here because, speaking as an Opera Singer, you would probably rather ban the Gardner than the dancer, but knowing that Chiru is such an insane dancer, banning that dancer is definitely, do not bring her out. Force those first 2, the first 2 picks to be, something a little bit more disposable. Keep the dancer on the board until the very end. Force them to get that rescuer in there. Very, very smart bans here from Rise. But we will, obviously, we will be seeing that Opera Singer come out here. Yeah, I love target bans, honestly. Because it was actually funny, watching the first match, I believe it was RC versus AWG, if I'm remembering correctly. Dancer was specifically not banned. it was very interesting. But that was, I think, week 1, so that was a while ago. Anyway, we'll get into the spawns here. We've got Wildling in the center, Antiquarian in the center house. Looks like we might be going for that Gardener first chase on Chiru, so, you know, a little bit of a not really the most advantageous position there, I would say. Chiru is, again, you know, if a locked off cipher here that's, you know, particularly consequential to the survivors with that spawn. I feel like if Rise had spawned locked off, but you know, that would kind of guarantee the Gardener here, we could definitely go for the Antiquarian. Antiquarian is a pretty good Opera Singer counter, but it really comes down to the timing. Because Opera Singer is so fast, there's been a lot of like mind games with the Antiquarian and the Opera Singer kind of being able to dodge her, being able to dodge the stick, like rapid fire. But we will get into the persona webs here. It looks like we're carrying, everybody has borrowed time here. That's been rarer and rarer against the Opera Singer lately. We're going to see double flywheel here with the Gardener and the Antiquarian, broken windows on the patient, and Tide Turner on the Wildling. And we're also going to be bringing in that trump card detention abnormal, which is pretty good on a map like Ever Sleeping Town. A lot of the ciphers are very close together, so it's not too hard to, you know, down a survivor and then be able to get to that cipher. But it looks like we will be going for that Gardener first chase here. Very, very fast movement here from Rise, but it does look like we ended up sending that dash into cooldown a little bit unfortunate there. But we will be just kind of getting as many of these pallets down as possible, trying to preserve the starting bubble as long as we can, and also forcing Rise to break them. So it does waste quite a bit of time here. We do have, you know, I think 20 seconds left on the bubble, but we will just be opting to hit it there, allowing Chiru to transition to another area. So over here to the double 11, really not a bad kiting area, one of the best kiting areas here. But the thing with Opera Singer is that you really cannot tight kite. You need to keep moving. You need to keep her on her toes because she will just double back, immediately cut you off. Oh, we're going to get a hit in through the pallet there. Very, very nicely done. Tram is in the area, so, you know, beware of the tram. If you were watching Checkmate, you definitely saw the danger of that tram, and unfortunately, no flywheel coming out here. Chiru will be going down, and a pretty decent first cut, I would say. We do have basically one cipher done, working on getting 2 ciphers completed here. Third one at about 60%, not bad, especially with a Wildling on the team, working with that 30% speed or decoding speed debuff. So yeah, ciphers do go a little bit or quite a bit slower, but we're going to actually get the abnormal in play. So no longer do we have that 70-ish% cipher. It's been knocked down to exactly 0, or 9%, I guess. So I'm lying, but yeah, we do basically still have another cipher completed at 77%. That's pretty much done, so not terrible, not the worst case scenario here. But we will just be letting Gardener marinate on chair. It does look like Wildling will be coming in for the rescue here. Of course, Rise does know that because we have Wanted Order in play, which unfortunately is on the Wildling. So he's been a bit telegraphed, but it is still a Wildling, so, you know, what can you do, really? So we are going to get our first hit in on the boar, going to actually get off the boar in order to take that second hit, and we will be, I would say, yeah, it doesn't look like we will be going here. Interesting that no flywheel was still used. I would have liked to see that flywheel come out, but it is what it is. Gardener will be going down pretty far away here, kind of playing around that tram. You do need to be very, very cautious of it, but down in the corner, we will be seeing our first elimination here. But look at that cipher progress. We nearly have another 2 ciphers completed with that 77% cipher from the beginning of the match. We're basically at 1 cipher remaining here, which is at 24%, which it looks like that they might actually be leaving the 77% cipher to the end. Either way, we do still have abnormal in place, so they will need to be careful about kind of keeping that cipher progress up. But we are at 3 ciphers remaining, and it looks like we are kind of rotating around here, looking to continue that cipher progress. Patient is going to head onto the tram. Of course, this is an opera singer, so she will be able to catch up very, very quickly. But yeah, it looks like we are just going to wait here to get that free hit in on the patient. A little bit unfortunate there, but what can you do? You know, it is a free hit. And it is just kind of the risk that you take from extending your containment by taking the tram. So very well done there by Rise. And it does waste time as well. It does force the Hunter to kind of stay in one spot. But we will be abnormaling that Cypher once again back down to 27% there. A little bit unfortunate, but Abnormal does lose power, so Rise will have to switch traits probably sooner than later. I would say we'll be seeing a teleport switch. We will just have to see, obviously, but with that trump card in play, Abnormal does lose, I think, like 20% of its viability every time it's used. I'd have to double check that. I actually don't know the exact number, but it's something around that. It gets very, very bad once you use it more than twice, or maybe 3 times, but yeah. Ciphers are kind of stalling here. We are going to finish, it looks like, that Cypher down at the bottom there at about 90%. So not terrible here. We will be going down to 2 ciphers remaining, and those last 2 ciphers are at 81% and 77%, provided they're able to, return to them. But Wildling will be going down here, so we will need, it looks like Antiquarian is the only one at full health here, really able to get that rescue comfortably. Of course, no members of the team still have tied, but we will be heading into basement, so that is a little bit unfortunate there for AWG survivors. Not going to be an easy rescue to pull off, but as long as they're able to get the Cypher primed in time, shouldn't be too much of an issue. But we are seeing the Antiquarian coming in for this rescue here. Nice jump over there, unfortunately. Still going to get cut off by the double back. We do have basically Cypher primed, Cypher nearly primed. Alright, yeah, it is primed now, so Wildling will be going down and immediately getting on the boar. Very, very nicely done there. Hanging out in the back as well, just to kind of try and force Rise to kind of stay back there. But with detention, that boar is only going to last 1 hit, so we will be seeing Wildling go down once again very quickly there. We do already have that other gate being opened, but Abnormal is up, which means that we can immediately switch to teleport. I do think that gate's going to be open in time, but Antiquarian's not going to be able to get out of it. So Patient is out the gate. Oh, barely missing that hit there. That could have been very, very dangerous. Unfortunately, just kind of on the wrong side of the hitbox. Opera Singer's hitbox is very kind of right-sided. But it does look like actually is Antiquarian going to be able to make it to the gate. She does still have quite a bit of stick left to use for that speed boost. But of course, we do have an Opera Singer with dash, but barely making it out that gate. Very, very close of an escape there. But that is going to be a draw, which means that AWG is going to take that first round as a victory. Very nicely done there. But yeah, that really is what I was saying, Cypher Rush, decoding as many ciphers as you can at a time really is the way to counter that Opera Singer. It is so hard. Really, really so hard to counter her, but I feel it's a different situation having, coordinated 4-man team in a tournament versus, your normal average rank queue. But yeah, very, very, very tight escape there. But yep, that is still going to go to AWG. But heading into the second round, I mean, it's not too bad. It is only a 1-point difference, I think. On the scoreboard, so it's not impossible to come back from. It's really not impossible to come back from. And it's, it's much better than either side getting a 4-man elimination, getting a 4-man escape. That's really not something you want to be looking for, putting 5 points on the board in the first round. So, yeah. So we are going to get our first 2 bands in here, and also we have a Hunter band now heading into round 2. Of course, it will be the Opera Singer. I would be very surprised if it's not the Opera Singer. I mean, we can definitely get away, maybe, not in this match, because we have kind of seen that both Opera Singers are very, very good. But I do feel like banning the Opera Singer is not always the best option, even if 99% of the time it is what happens. But we will be banning the Opera Singer. We'll also be banning the Mercenary and Priestess. So that does still leave the Seer on the table if AWG decides to go that route. Looks like we will be going for the Forward and the Dancer. So we will be having that guaranteed Dancer over there for Chiru. We won't be seeing her again in future rounds, unfortunately. But it is what it is in getting that dancer on the board here. When AWG really wants to put more points on the board, I feel like is definitely their goal right now. So we will be banning the Embalmer and the Seer. In return, we are going to get a Prospector, and just waiting on that last pick here, going to be a Psychologist. Definitely not surprising here. Psychologist team support is so valuable, especially in tournament when you can actually, clearly communicate when you want that heal to go through. But having that remote heal can be very valuable. And in addition, she does take 3 hits to get down. So a little bit of that mercenary gardener kind of survivability there, even if she doesn't have much to work with. Once she takes this, once she takes 1 hit and that shield is gone, she still is definitely, annoying to chase in that regard. But yeah, it does leave, there's a lot of hunters on the table here. Okay, we will be going with the Night Watch very quickly there. So Night Watch, I feel like is I get scared at Night Watch picks, I really do. Especially post nerf. The thing is that Night Watch was good. Night Watch was very good, definitely top of the meta before the nerf, but I feel like the nerf has just kind of it literally cut him in half, They nerfed the length of the wind as well as they slightly nerfed the length of the wind. They kind of took, a few meters off the end of it. But the dash was absolutely destroyed, cut in half completely. Nightwatch could get across the map, with that full presence for 4 dashes, could get across the map. Now gets about maybe halfway across the map, even on a map like Chinatown. So it's, I feel like, obviously it does have to do with, Hunter individual confidence, but I feel like Nightwatch is not the Hunter he used to be. He's very much a draw Hunter at best. Which, if a Hunter can guarantee a draw, that does kind of make them meta, but, yeah. But we will be getting into the spawns here. We're going to have forward spawning in the middle, Prospector spawning near the north gate. Looks like we might be going for the Prospector here. That would be kind of dangerous. I would say maybe the Psychologist, even if she takes 3 hits to get down, it's a better option than basically anybody else on this team. So, yeah. It's not a great situation here. There really isn't an ideal chase here. You either get Prospector with the stuns to knock you out of the wind immediately. Forward can also, do quite a bit of harassment. The wind does kind of counter the ball, but only to a certain extent. It does. He is still very fast. We are bringing a pretty aggressive persona web on this Night Watch, though. We do have Insolence as well as Trump Card. No detention, which is definitely a risk here, but yeah, I feel like Insolence detention would probably have been a little bit safer. But we'll just have to see. No detention is very scary, but we will get right into it. This is round 2 of AWG versus Axis Wave. Right now, AWG is in the lead, but by only 1 point, so there's definitely a lot of room for Axis Wave to make that up. It looks like we will be going for that Prospector on the first chase here over in the... Is this the hotel or the... No, this is the restaurant area, I believe. But yeah, dropping that pallet here, and we're going to see our first magnet as well. So unfortunately, does look like Prospector has no more magnets left to... Oh, no, actually it's going to return as I'm saying this. So definitely very good conservation of those magnets. Coming into the center area here is a little bit dangerous, but there's still quite a bit of kind of map things to... Ooh, that was a very dangerous stun there! Nearly didn't go through at all, but we will be getting our first hit. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite the stun that I would say Namiko is hoping for, and that is going to be our first down. It does look like forward is in the area, though, ready to come in for this rescue. Oh, and that is the nerfed Tempest that I was talking about. Yep, coming directly in. Oh, but we're not going to get the stun! Oh, not quite pushing him far back enough into that wall. Namiko is going to be chaired there, and that is very unfortunate here for AWG. That puts Rise in a very good position. We do see that the Psychologist is going to be able to remotely heal the forward, so we could definitely be looking Ooh, these stuns really are not going through here. Using about, well, we're at about a little under half of that ball right now, for the forward. But that stun just did not work. We did get the rescue though with the basic hit. Forward, unfortunately, is going to be at half health here. Nice use of the magnet there though, pushing Rise into the Cypher. But yeah, that is just very, very unfortunate here. We're just going to use the wind here, and oh, a beautiful flywheel, unfortunately, is going to get hit through that window. Naviko is going to go down. We do still have another chair to go through. I believe he was rescued before half. But it does look like Psychologist is actually going to heal up the forward once again here. So, unless... Okay, yep, that is what was happening there. We are going to heal up the forward again. Psychologist is going to be left at half health, but since she's not in the line of fire, that's really not the biggest deal in the world. 3 ciphers remaining here. It looks like we're at about... Well, we've actually abandoned that 62% cipher. We're going for a separate other 2. Forward is going to take a hit here. Are we going to double back for the stun? Yes, we are, and that is going to connect, so very, very nicely done. Unfortunately, it's going to be a bit short. We do have about a quarter ball left. I do think that's pretty much enough. No, not quite getting that stun through. Nightwatch a little bit too fast for that to really connect there. Hitbox being a little bit too fast, I should say. And Prospector will be returning to the manor. So we do have 3 ciphers remaining here with pretty decent progress on all 3 of them. The real issue, though, is the fact that, okay, we have healed up forward, but obviously Psychologist is still at half health. We do have the Dancer at full health here who can come in for rescue. Oh, the Blink! Using Blink to get a fall hit in there, not quite as effective, I would say. Was that forward using the ball? I think that was forward using the ball. But that will be a chair. Very, very nicely done there. This is a bit of a dangerous area to get stuck in, though. Forward does have an increased struggle speed, but unfortunately it's not quite going to be enough, even with the aid of those fast boxes. It was a little bit stressful there going through that fast box area, but it does look like they were beneath the pallet. We're not going to opt to break them, though, and with no ball remaining, Forward is going to go straight down. Wouldn't be the worst time in the world to go and break those boxes, but yeah, actually no, because Rise can't afford to waste any time here. He doesn't have detention, so heading into this endgame is really not something that he's interested in doing. We do have that final cipher at 50% though, so as long as they're able to get to it and decode it in time, we could be looking at that no detention endgame. Possibly a draw here, but with Forward going to take off, it's not really... Maybe it'll go through, but we're actually going to abandon that. Yeah, I think the 50% cipher is the one directly next to the Forward's chair, but we are going to switch targets here. It looks like we did spot... Maybe we spotted where the Psychologist was coding. Actually, no, we're going to double back here, looking for that Dancer once again, who did return to that 54% cipher. It really is just a matter of rotating, hiding, making sure that that final cipher can be decoded. A bit of an interrupted dash there, unfortunately. We are going to get the kite onto the Dancer. So we do not have Flywheel right now. It was used. Other than that, I don't actually think... Yeah, we don't have any boxes either. All of them were placed in that area. So this is a very, very raw kite here. Yeah, nice job running around there to avoid that Terror Shock. That would have 100% been a Terror Shock if it hadn't been avoided like that. So very nicely done there. Cypher is only at 70% though, and this is going to be a down. So that is a little bit unfortunate there for AWG, and very well played here by Rise. You know, I really, it's hard to expect, you know, a 3-man at least, but this does look like it might be a 4-man elimination. Yeah, Ban just kind of accepting fate, I guess, there. That is going to be a 4-man elimination, which is not something that we see from a Nightwatch often at all lately. So very, very nicely played there for Axis Wave. Yeah, just absolutely incredible play, and really just knowing, you know, knowing the limits of the Nightwatch, the confidence that it takes to bring that no detention as well is so just wow. Very, very well done there. And yeah, it's not like It's not like it used to be with the Night Watch. Night Watch used to, or at least very briefly, was kind of the opera singer before opera singer was a thing. She was very, or yeah, well, we can she her Night Watch here. Night Watch was very, very top of the hunter pool, but with those nerfs, and it does make me wonder. Excuse me, it does make me wonder. If the opera singer is going to be nerfed kind of to that extent. I feel like the only thing that they could really nerf with her is the my goodness. The only thing we can nerf with her really is her cooldowns, I think, is kind of the end of it. But we will be getting into the second half of this now. Gardener and Wildling are our global bans. Obviously, we are going to ban the opera singer here, and we will be banning the seer and the priestess. Pretty standard here for Chinatown. But Yukagina does have a lot to kind of work up to. The best result we can get here is a draw with a 4-man elimination, but that's not going to be easy. We're going to lock in the Mercenary, Antiquarian, and the Entomologist here. This is a pretty generic band set, though, I will say. We're looking at the Seer, Priestess, Toy Merchant, and Embalmer. We're looking at as few escapes as possible here, but it's really not clear what Yukakina will play. He does have a Hermit, he does have a Bloody Queen. Both of them aren't bad on this map, so I definitely wouldn't be surprised if he did take them. Of course, Bloody Queen and Hermit both tend to struggle against, it's a bit of a tanky team comp here. We do have the Dancer with very strong containment, Antiquarian with very strong containment. We've got the Entomologist as well. Hermit wouldn't be the worst pick here, I don't think, because it's not like he has any specific counters. Entomologist can definitely be used against him, but it's very situational, or used to counter him. We actually saw this happen to Yukakina specifically a few weeks before this, where the bees were utilized to push Hermit out of the teleport. It has a name, and I don't know the name of it off the top of my head, but you know what I mean. When Hermit goes to teleport, his body doesn't disappear, so the bees can be used to push him out of that. So it's very fun to see happen, unless you're the Hermit that is happening to. But yeah, I feel like Bloody Queen or Hermit could be used here. The problem is that we do need a 4-man elimination. I would say Hermit's probably the safer option when it comes to a 4-man elimination, but yeah. Okay. Oh, we're going to go with the Breaking Wheel. Yeah, speaking of 4-man eliminations here, I feel like Breaking Wheel does have a pretty good chance here. Not sure if Axis Wave was anticipating that, though. We'll have to see with the amount of flywheels that they have on the team. They may have been expecting the Breaking Wheel. I don't actually think I've seen Yukakina play a lot on Chinatown, so that's why I wasn't thinking of the Breaking Wheel. But Breaking Wheel, it's kind of a return to old meta here, but he's not bad. The issue really is that he's fallen into that slot of like, the hunter really does need to be confident in using him. It's not like it was, back in the Koa 5 days where he was, again, the top of that hunter pool. But we will be getting into our spawns here. We're going to have Antiquarian spawn possibly in the hotel area. Okay, well, all right, we're still moving around here, but we are going to possibly spawn in that hotel area. Yep, okay, confirm spawning in that hotel area. Entomologist is going to spawn over in, I believe that's the restaurant. Mercenary in this center here, and it looks like our first chase is likely going to be the Dancer here. Of course, we do kind of have free pickings of anybody on the map because, it is a Breaking Wheel. His mobility is, I would say, the best in the game, next to, a Wuchang, something like that. But yeah, it really, it's not the worst situation that, Yukakina could be in. Of course, Dancer First Chase, does have, her downsides, I suppose, in terms of the fact that we'll have This is also banking on Yukikina not bringing insolence. If Yukikina brings insolence, that's a different story. But if we don't bring insolence, there's still a lot of time to be wasted. Okay, so we're going to bring insolence and trump cards. So again, that no detention build, a little bit of a risk as always, but it is what it is. It does look like, at least in part, they may have been expecting the breaking wheel here. We do have flywheel on both the antiquarian and the female dancer. Of course, that may have been anticipating a bloody queen as well. Flywheel can be very effective against her mirror. We're going to have entomologist with broken windows and obviously mercenary with tide. All members of the team do have borrowed time, but we do need a 4-man elimination here from Yukikina just in order to tie things up after that beautiful 4-man elimination from Rise in the first round. It looks like we will be taking that dancer as the first chase here. Nice usage of the boxes here to have both the overlapping slow and fast boxes, but it really is just a matter of how long Otto is able to contain here. Beautiful pirouettes there over to the palette. And are we working with Blink? I actually wasn't paying attention to the trait, but it does look like it's probably Blink. But nice usage of, yeah, just having this whole area in the boxes. Yukina really does need to force the dancer out of there, or at the very least, yeah, we're going to throw one of those traps, but oh, the bee is coming in the area just to trip up Yukikina even further here. It looks like we've momentarily lost the dancer, but the bee's coming through once again just to disrupt as much as possible. Yukikina getting very turned around here, looking for that dancer. Oh, we're going to blink through the wall here, and oh, beautiful usage of the bees there and the flywheel as well, just to get back into that area. Another pirouette. We still have that center palette to use, but what a containment here. We're already at about 2 ciphers. Here is the trap, and oh, the bees are going to trip him up just long enough for Otto to be able to contain. Unfortunately, the bees will be sent back here, taking 2 hits. Otto is going to fall into a trap, and that is going to be the end of that containment. What a beautiful start to the game, though. We do have a 74% and a 36% cipher. We are opening up our fourth cipher here after that first one has been completed, but it does give Yukikina quite a bit of time just to break these boxes. Mercenary is in the area here, ready to come in for the rescue, but yeah, we do have quite a bit of cipher progress here. That third cipher getting up to around 70%, and dancer is going to be rescued. So we will be continuing this containment. We do have a chip in here. Yukikina's not quite at full presence, but is almost, so we won't be able to see the kind of area of effect spikes here. So he will need to get another spike in on Otto, but beautiful pirouettes there, unfortunately. Otto will be taking a second spike, and with no flywheel here, will be falling victim to the snap. So that will be female dancer's second down. But we have 3 ciphers remaining, but only 2 of them have been started here. However, we are nearly at 2 ciphers remaining. That one is almost finished, or it basically is finished by the time I finish saying that. So we're basically looking at 2 ciphers remaining here. Obviously, one of them hasn't quite been started here, but this is looking pretty good for Axis Wave. Really not a 4-man elimination scenario, especially since we're not looking at detention, but a beautiful pushback there by Nyan. Unfortunately, we are going to get terror shocked on that rescue. That is very, very unfortunate there. I don't think... Oh, no. Well, no. We're still at 2 ciphers remaining. So that's really not going to be great for Axis Wave to come back from. It's definitely possible here. But it looks like we are switching targets entirely, looking for that mercenary. We aren't going to be able to get that. Oh my goodness, beautiful elbow pad there, dodging the trap. Very, very nicely done by Lim. We will be snapped down to chip damage, but that's okay here. Not the worst case scenario. We're going to double back and look for the antiquarian, but it doesn't look like we're going to be able to find her. She has rotated out of the area. Looks like we have actually stopped to heal up the antiquarian as well. Kind of anticipating the mercenary. Kind of anticipating the mercenary going down and needing to go for that rescue. So she will be healed back up. And Lim is going to take a spike there, so that is basically a confirmed down. With those 2 spikes, we won't be seeing the delayed damage coming through either. So that will be the end of the Mercenary. It looks like we have started opting for the Slug. It's a little bit dangerous here, though, especially without that detention and with the Ciphers being where they are. It's not the best case scenario, but we have Abnormal! Switching over to Abnormal, they're going to knock down that final Cypher back to 21% from its about 70-80% status. Very nicely done there by Yukikina. Just to extend this even further, unfortunately, we do have Tunas up and available to continue that decoding, so not really the best case scenario here. We're really still not looking at that 4-man elimination, as long as Tuna is able to get to a Cypher sooner than later. But it doesn't look like that's happened yet. Nyan doing a very good job of this containment, and beautiful work with those stuns just to stop Yukikina from getting the area of effect spike, and another disarm as well, just to stack on top. We've got almost, 5 more seconds of that disarm. Very, very nicely done, knowing the Breaking Wheels kind of predictability moveset. We are going to be able to employ the snap here, and Yan will be sent down to half health, but that's better than 3/4 health, so very nicely done there. We will be rolling directly through the bees, and it doesn't look like we've actually been able to return to any ciphers here, taking the time instead to try and heal up the Mercenary, but there's only so much time that Axis Wave survivors can really afford to keep running around like this before it becomes too late. Yukikina right now is just forcing them to waste their resources, forcing them to stay on their toes, just dragging out this match. We do still need a 4-man elimination, but as long as they're not decoding, Yukikina kind of has free reign of the map here. So we will be downing the Entomologist once again, and the other survivors are just scattered across the map here. I mean, at this point in the match, they are rotating, trying to stay hidden from Yukikina as much as possible so that they can go over and heal up Tuna. But the issue is that there isn't any decoding done. That Cypher is still stuck at 21%. Beautiful hiding job there, though, not being spotted out by the Breaking Wheel. Looks like we will be trying to rotate over to a Cypher. I'm not sure if it's the Cypher. Oh, did they Cypher lock themselves? That's what it is. Yup, they did in fact Cypher lock themselves. The only Cyphers remaining are these 3 Cyphers on this side of the map, which is not a position that you want to be in against really any hunter, but especially a Breaking Wheel. It's almost impossible to get back from a Cypher lock position when you are fighting against a Breaking Wheel because of his mobility, and especially with that Abnormal in play as well. Very, very difficult here to come back from that position. So very nicely done by Yukikina, really taking advantage of the Cypher lock position, but we'll just have to see how long it can last. So that is going to be a trap. And, ooh, that wasn't even a flywheel. Did that just not connect at all? Either way, Antiquarian is going to be going down at this time, but there is still no decoding happening right now. Mercenary is still at half health. Entomologist is hiding. Oh no, Entomologist is rotating around. Very good job, Mercenary hiding. Doesn't look like Yukikina is able to really spot out these survivors, unfortunately. But with Tuna rotating across the map, trying to, I would say, intercept Nyan, and really get over into that position to heal him up. But yeah, I mean, that Cypher has been stuck at 21% for a very long time here. We're heading into 8 minutes into the match, or over 8 minutes. We're looking at 9 minutes now, I would say. It's a very, very long time to spend with almost no decoding happening. We're going to get 4% on that Cypher, but unfortunately, Mercenary is going to be spotted out here and immediately snapped down. Semi-immediately snapped down. We did wait a bit of a second there, but not that the delayed damage really matters much. Mercenary will be heading down once again. Does still have self-heal, though. Antiquarian has used her self-heal. Mercenary has not. So, not the worst situation to be in. We have found the Entomologist here, but they really just haven't been decoding at all, really. It does look like Antiquarian is heading in the direction of a Cypher, but I would say more so. Okay, no, we are going to touch that cipher here, get it at least a little bit decoded, but with these mind games, yeah, it's not going to last very long. Tuna is going to be downed. All of the downed survivors right now do have self-heal, though. So they can, in theory, heal up and continue decoding, continue this pressure, but it's really not going to be easy here. There's just been so much time spent without decoding, and with all of the survivors, Nyan does have one stun left, basically, but if Yukikina is able to get the second spike in, it's really not going to do much. So are we able to? Yes, we are able to get that spike in. The stun is not going to be able to be utilized here. We have 3 spikes in, looking for that trap, and that the snap is just going to go through. So Nyan does not have self-heal, though. And we've started that third cipher up here, but unfortunately Yukikina knows and is just going to rotate right back over to the entomologist. Looks like Mercenary, we can't actually see. Okay, no, Mercenary is healing the Antiquarian right away here. But looks like Entomologist is basically about to go down here. No flywheel in play. Nothing to really avoid this. Oh, it looks like the snap is actually in cooldown for another 2 seconds. So it'll be, you know, a moment. But yep, there we go. That is the snap there. Entomologist has used self-heal now, is going to be going down once again. This might actually be a 4-man elimination after all is said and done. I really don't see a situation where any of them are going to be able to get to that dungeon unless they wait out the slug. But ugh. Yeah, but very nicely done by Yukikina, at least to make an effort in tying this up, I would say. It really is just very, very impressive here. But looks like we're heading for the Antiquarian. She does still have stick left to use, but unfortunately not going to go through. That snap is going to catch her before anything else. And we are just... I need to see the healing stats at the end of this. I really do. Because it's just... It's just not happening. The heals are not healing. Or the heals are healing. The ciphers are not ciphering. And with all of this focus on healing only just to get downed again and again and again, it really just wastes time is all it does. Tuna is going to get double spiked here and downed as well. Are we going for the chair? Okay, we're actually going for the chair on this one. To be fair, we only really need Nyan on the ground. Lim is still up. Looking for that dungeon, is actually at that dungeon location, but... Yeah, with Nyan still on the ground for at least another couple minutes, it's not too big of a concern here for Yukikina, but it is kind of a risk, I would say, to start sharing survivors, at least now, at this point in the game. You know, you've already committed to the slug. But heading kind of in the wrong direction here entirely. It actually looks like Lim might be able to make this rescue. Yeah, while Yukikina is running around the map, Lim is fully going to be able to make it to that chair, rescue the entomologist. I would say maybe the chair actually was that strategy of kind of flushing the mercenary out, not knowing where he is, you know, oh, I'll just share somebody. Surely the rescuer is going to come to rescue. But we are going to down Tuna once again here. Are we going to go for that chair? No. Now that we've kind of figured out where the mercenary is, it's not going to take too long to really, you know, triangulate that position based on tinnitus. Not going to be in that direction, but we are going to get tinnitus once again heading towards the restaurant here. So really it's just a matter of time. But Nyan is about to bleed out, so it's a little bit less time, I would say, than is ideal. If Lim is just able to continue hiding this out, Yukikina once again turning just the wrong way, but it does. Are we going to be able to catch Mercenary's blood trail? Yes, we will. Mercenary actually headed over to try and heal the Antiquarian, but Antiquarian hadn't healed at all. This is going to be a 4-man elimination here, tying things up when it seemed almost impossible to tie it. Very, very well done by Yukikina there. I honestly, with the way that game started, I did not expect it to be a 4-man elimination at all, but that had to have been like 12 minutes, right? I am going to skip to the stats here because I do want to see those healing. Yeah, the heals here. We've got I think 8 heals in total if I'm looking at the right area. Because there was quite a bit of healing happening there. And yeah, that was a almost a 14-minute match. My bad, I was off by a couple minutes. That was a 13-minute, 57-second match there for that 4-man elimination. But that really is just the 14-minute match. And the last cipher that popped was at 5 minutes remaining, or at 5 minutes into the match. That is an incredible, just dragging things out, waiting for those survivors to use those resources, waiting as long as possible just to get just to continue that lead for AWG. Okay, I lied. It was actually a 2-point lead there. But you know, point still stands. Like, it's a very small lead, one that AWG can definitely come back from. But of course, very, very well done there by Yukikina to bring that back around. And just keep alive for a little bit longer. You know, ideally, you know, it wouldn't have been a 4-man elimination of AWG survivors, but still being able to keep things alive even in the face of that 4-man elimination is very, very commendable. So I am going to find round 3. Oh, I overshot that by a little bit, but it's okay. We're just going to see our first 2 bans here are Seer and Priestess. We're going to be heading on to Sacred Heart for this round. So a little bit disadvantageous for the Hunters, but very, very good for the Survivors here. And I would say that's probably what really matters at this point in time, is allowing those Survivors to get as many points as possible, because, you know, we did just see a double 4-man elimination. So for Axis Wave Survivors here, we will be seeing that Forward and the Barmaid coming through. Banned as well are the Mercenary, Antiquarian, Gardener, and Wildling. So we are also going to ban the Dancer, and we will be seeing the Entomologist instead. So a very strong comp here. They really are counter-comping the Hermit, I would say, with the Entomologist as well as the Barmaid here. Barmaid obviously able to heal that chip damage up. Entomologist, as previously stated, you know, able to situationally mess with the Hermit. But, you know, with the support that we've been seeing from that Entomologist, definitely a very big possibility here. We're going to see the Prospector as our final pick with the Coordinator banned. I wouldn't be, you know, the funny thing is, though, that despite them being very, very different hunters, or I guess situationally Barmaid can counter and be countered by the Bloody Queen, because I was going to say the Bloody Queen as the other option, but I mean, the map itself really counters the Bloody Queen. So it's not, you know, it's really not going to be easy for Yukikina to play the Bloody Queen or the Hermit. Obviously, Breaking Wheel, you know, isn't good on Sacred Heart as well. Bonbon has been banned here, so we will not be seeing the Guard 26. Guard 26 arguably would be the best hunter out of Yukikina's hunter pool in this situation on Sacred Heart Hospital, but not going to be happening, obviously. We do have our personas locked in, so we will be seeing the pick very shortly. It will be another Night Watch, which is a little bit scary once again. But Night Watch, I feel like, isn't the best on Sacred Heart, but also isn't the worst. I feel like there's definitely a lot of ways in which he can be used. But, you know, it's definitely a very situational pick here, especially with that. Well, he does counter the Barmaid. He does counter the Barmaid. He can counter he can counter the Forward. He can counter the Prospector. So, you know, it is what it is. We really will just have to see. But yeah, we will be heading into the spawn picks here. We've got the Prospector spawning in the hospital. At least for now, we might be switching that up in a second. All right, and we've got the Entomologist, possibly going to be our first chase here. We've got forward kind of acting as a bait. Entomologist can definitely rotate into either the hospital or the shack, though, so might be a little bit dangerous there. Obviously, forward can also rotate into the hospital. And barmaid spawning up in the shack ruins, arguably one of, if not the strongest areas on the map. So yeah, I would say either forward or entomologist, but neither of them are very ideal first chases. So it's definitely going to be Yukakina's work cut out for him in this round, but we'll just have to see. I'm definitely interested in what the personas are, though, because both Flywheel and Broken Windows can be very good against the Nightwatch, but we're actually okay. I was kind of thinking about that confined space, but usually tournament hunters don't bring confined space. But I was thinking, because most of the kiting areas on this map, especially those ruins, can be very, if you have nothing to block off those walls, it's basically infinite kiting loops. So having confined space here is definitely going to be really good. Didn't quite catch the survivor personas though. Okay, it looks like we are carrying double flywheel on the entomologist and the prospector. Barmaid does have broken windows, which is very good for a barmaid, and we are going to see forward with Tide Turner. But yeah, we do have the shack to use, but of course we do also have confined space here, so that will be fast pallet breaking. We're actually not going to break that pallet at all. Yukina instead is going to just opt to jump over it, and Tuna will be transitioning over to the hospital. We do have Blink though, so we can definitely get our first hit in that way, but it's really not very ideal. Bees are currently in cooldown though, so we do have a good 15 seconds to really get a hit in. Beautiful magnet there by the prospector. Absolutely incredible. They're pulling him right back into the stairs. Very, very nicely done there by Otto. So oh no, missing that blink. That is very, very unfortunate. What did he even get? Oh, did he get caught on the trash bins? Can you not blink through that? Oh man, that is just bad luck. That is just bad, bad, bad luck. And Tuna is going to be able to very safely rotate back into the hospital. We're actually going to just give up on Tuna entirely and head over towards the barmaid, who really isn't that ideal of a chase. We do have that Dovlin in play, and this is a very strong kiting area potentially. We could definitely see the confined space coming into play here, but Lim also knows that the confined space is a thing. And here comes Nyan with the forward, getting a very long stun in there, almost completely negating Yukakina's chances of catching up to that barmaid, especially since we are looking at not having presence yet. We don't have that insolence. Insolence is so important for a Nightwatch. It really is a risk to bring that confined space, I would say, especially in a tournament setting. But all of these survivors are back to full health. Those ciphers are rushing. We have all four of our first ciphers are past 50% here. Absolutely incredible cipher rush here. Beautiful coordination from Axis Wave. This is a very, very good, I guess, mid-game for them now. We're only 2 minutes in, but we haven't gotten even our second hit in yet. All of the survivors are at full health, and already we're going to have that second Dovlin coming into play from Lim. It really is a question of whether or not we will be able to pull it off. But with no blink, we do have presence on Nightwatch now, obviously, but we do also have the speed drink. And Nyan coming in once again. That ball is actually going to be canceled by the wind, but Nyan able to get the body block in. Lim will be able to get that Dovlin off. Absolutely incredible work here. It looks like we are actually going to switch onto the forward, which is kind of necessary because he's the only member of the team at half health, but nicely done with that pullback. Unfortunately, we are working with a forward here who has very, very fast vault speed, so he will be able to transition directly into another area. Not quite throwing down that pallet yet. It looks like we are waiting here, but we almost have blink back up, so hopefully we don't miss that one. But yeah, we will see. This loop is just going to continue to be used. We have 5 seconds left on Blink, so Nyan does have to be careful here. But we're almost at one cipher remaining. That final cipher is at 50%. Waiting to drop that pallet. Just beautiful work there. Nyan unfortunately is going to be downed. Playing a little bit around that palette, unfortunately, it's just not going to work out. But the B's coming in just to kind of support here. We are heading to the basement, but forward does have an increased struggle speed. Will we be able to struggle free here? We are going to be able to struggle free! That is absolutely detrimental here to Yukahina's game. The Cypher is almost primed. Almost primed here. We're going to get a pullback here, but we're going to be able to pick up the forward. That's going to be a drop. Are we going to be able to pop the Cypher? Looks like we are going to opt to force heal. And that's going to be a Terror Shock, and the Cypher will be popped. All members of the team do have borrowed time, so immediately we are going to be able to use that. What a play here by Axis Wave, looking for this 4-man escape. And the last of that ball coming through, allowing Nyan to get to the pallet, but the blink coming into play. We will be seeing our first chair here on Nyan. That is so unfortunate that this is the first chair. You know, this is the very first chair of the match. Actually going to be able to head to the basement this time, but we do have that gate open. This is going to be a 3-man escape. Absolutely incredible gameplay here from Axis Wave. Really just looking to get as many points on the board as possible here heading into this third round. And that very well could be enough to pull the tide back in their favor. That is going to be, I think it closes the gap here. So if I think they do need to get a 4-man elimination in order to secure that lead, if I'm not mistaken. We should be seeing the win conditions here, since we are in round 3. Oh, okay, so the points are actually tied. Yeah, the points are tied with that. If we want to head into round 4, I think that... Okay, so round 4 is going to be a draw. Any other result? Okay, so 3-man escape is going to be Axis Wave win. Or no, 4-man escape is going to be AWG. Yes? No? Maybe? I think so. But we are going to bring out KKK here for the final, or for the third round. There's definitely a very good chance of that round 4, especially since we are working with AWG, which is kind of a notorious team for their 4-round matches. But we'll see. I am very excited to see KKK here, though, because KKK is a very crazy hunter, does have that Hermit, as we're seeing on the screen here, has the Soul Weaver and the Bonbon as well, but the Hermit really is a kind of standout performance, or can be a very standout performance here, from, you know, and especially on Sacred Heart as well. Hermit's not bad on Sacred Heart, so it could be very effective if we end up going with the Hermit, but also AWG can definitely counter comp the Hermit, so we'll see. Yeah, I am also hoping and praying that the Hunters let Nightwatch meta go by Koa, because it can get, as we just saw, it can get very depressing here. I feel like maybe if we'd brought Insolence instead of Confined Space, then maybe that could have had a slightly better result. But it's still... Bringing Nightwatch on Sacred Heart Hospital is just a very big risk. So, yeah, it's just a little bit unfortunate that things ended the way that they did. But, you know, either way you spin it, we are looking at a pretty even way to go. And especially considering that AWG has held the lead this long. Yeah, we really just have to see here. But yeah, I'm just going to bump us up a little bit so we are at the bans and picks. Global bans here are Forward, Dancer, Antiquarian, and Patient. So there's definitely, yeah, they still have basically all of their hermit counter options on the table. I wouldn't be surprised actually to see something like an enchantress coming out first here. Um it would be a little bit unprecedented here, but she does tend to come out when teams need a 4-man elimination or a 4-man escape. So with AWG, maybe Enchantress Hermit as Enchantress Embalmer is what I meant to say. I've been thinking about that Hermit. But Seer Priestess are going to be our first two bans here, not letting any cards off the table, as well as them just being very, very valuable members of a team. But we will be going with the Mercenary as well as the Entomologist. And we're going to actually ban the Mechanic as well, going with the Prospector instead. But does look like KKK doesn't want to see that decoding, as well as having the bot out on the field does allow there to be a 5th survivor, or a 4th survivor decoding, provided that the Mechanic isn't chased first. But yeah, I know I am. And with the Explorer band as well, we will be seeing the Lawyer coming out as that decoder. There's actually been kind of a lack of Lawyer in these matches. I kind of just processed that. We usually see quite a bit more Lawyer than this in the match, but yeah, I mean he's a very valuable member of a team. And we will be going with that Hermit, so I'm very excited to see that. I am always a fan of seeing Hermit, but KKK Hermit is particularly a very unique Hermit gameplay style. He tends to connect only 2 ciphers at the start of the match just to get the guaranteed chip on only 1 survivor, and then immediately disconnect those ciphers in order to just have that chip on, and be able to continue the chase that way. It's a very interesting strategy and not one that I've really seen from a lot of other Hermits. So we'll see if he ends up doing that here, but it looks like we might be heading towards the Entomologist as our first chase, or the Mercenary. Mercenary wouldn't be a terrible option here. Hermit is kind of one of the only hunters that can chase a Mercenary first, and really doesn't have to worry about it because he does deal 1.2 damage. It could definitely be a dangerous situation if we're looking at distributed damage, but yeah. I feel like in general, Lawyer is kind of less picked in IJL, but yeah, I feel like they just kind of prefer bringing other survivors here. But the thing is that Lawyer doesn't really need. He's not like, bringing a Prospector or something else like that, where you kind of need to know specifically how to play that character. Lawyer, you really just need to know how to kite. He's very easy to pick up, which is why he's so dangerous, and why he's so meta and been played so often in IVL, is that you don't need to really put in any work to learn him. He's literally like, you just have to kite, and you just have to kite fast. So we will be seeing Insolence and Detention being brought on this Hermit here. Insolence is very fun on a Hermit, and I've actually been bringing it myself quite a bit. Bringing that Insolence, just guarantees having that kind of short teleport trait faster, which makes it very much easier. So yeah, we are going to see that 2 Cypher Connect strategy, and we've gotten our first charge in here on Namiko, so immediately that is going to be locked on there, unless Namiko is able to get into a locker or something. But we'll see if he's able to pull that off here. It is a little bit unfortunate that Namiko is actually kind of across the map here. KKK's not going to be able to track him down very easily. Instead, looks like we will be seeing the Entomologist instead, so that will be our first chase here. Unfortunately, no charge in this area, and taking this long to find a target is really unfortunate as well, because look at that cipher progress. We have 2.5 ciphers being decoded right now. Looks like we have started that 3rd cipher up. But yeah, it's really not ideal here to not have the ciphers connected, but we're going to get a blink on our first hit. Could definitely connect the ciphers here, but it looks like we are going to opt to wait a little bit longer. We've got the blue charge up. The thing with connecting the ciphers, though, is that it does allow the rest of the team to switch their polarity, so that's definitely something that KKK is keeping in mind here. But we're going to utilize the heavy hit. Unfortunately, it's just not going to go through, but we do have insolence here, and we will be getting that stun. Nice mind game there by Chiru. Unfortunately, it's not quite going to work out. So we will have our first chair here, but it does look like it was basically a 2 cipher kite here. Almost 3 ciphers, 2.5, little over 2.5 cipher kite. Which isn't great for a hermit. You can definitely get a lot of good cipher kind of disruption heading into the latter half of the game. But it does look like we will be setting up that cipher connection here. Mercenary is coming in for the rescue. I wouldn't be surprised if KKK decides not to get a charge in on the Mercenary, at least before taking that first hit. Yeah, we will just be getting a raw first hit there on the Mercenary, getting that chip damage in play. Looks like we will be getting, yep, there's that blue charge on the Entomologist, and interestingly, it looks like, oh, okay, we did actually change our polarity. Didn't quite catch that, but yeah, it was kind of covered by the pings, but Banban did share damage there, so Chiru is still going to be up. But yeah, that really is, you know, the greatest weakness of a hermit is a coordinated team. And having a team that is in direct communication with each other really, really puts a dent in the hermit's kind of chances at success. Now, we definitely still can snowball this. There's definitely a lot of room as well as just potential here, but we are going to miss that charge. Looks like we will get the charge in on the Entomologist here, but kind of trying to avoid the bees. They're not really going so well for KKK. Beautiful teleport there, right through that wall. Nice prediction of where Chiru was going to be. That will be our second down, but our last 3 ciphers are looking very healthy. And with the connection, you know, it does kind of hurt them, but it also helps them. Because even if a little bit of the progress is taken from those 2 ciphers that weren't being decoded, yeah, it's not a great situation to be in. But we will be seeing that decoding kind of stall here as we head in for the Mercenary to rescue here. But we do have quite a few charges left, it looks like. And we will be using those very effectively just to try and get that rescue as slow as possible. Mercenary is going to take a hit there. Beautiful blink there right through the bees, and Entomologist will be going down for her final chair. But this is kind of looking like a draw. The cipher is going to be primed and popped by the time Entomologist takes off. We do have the gates connected, though, so that will kind of delay them for quite some time. But unfortunately, KKK... Actually, no, we are heading in the right direction. I didn't realize Namako was already at the gate there. We're going to exit that connection there. So the other exit gate can definitely be opened here. Yeah, opened without pretty much any interference. So this does look like it will be a draw situation unless... Namako, beautiful use of the stuns there to catch Namako outside of the radius. That is going to be a draw here. Draws are pretty rare for a hermit. It's a little bit interesting that this was the result. But it was if the end game had gone slightly differently there, it would have been a 3-man escape there. Namako was right over dungeon. Yeah, that was very, very close to being a 3-man escape, but very nicely done there to keep it at a draw. I do think, yeah, a draw result does go to round 4, though, so we will be entering that round 4 situation, which is a little bit, you know, it is what it is, but, and it's also just very, very typical, I would say, of AWG to kind of push it to that round 4. They love getting ties. But look at the bans in this scenario. We've got all the bans from the previous, or all the first 2 picks from the previous rounds here. We've got Entomologist, Mercenary, First Officer. Not First Officer. I was thinking about how First Officer hasn't actually been picked yet. We've been seeing a lot more Mercenary, but of course we might be seeing that First Officer coming out here. Since, you know, almost all of the other rescuers are unavailable. Well, forward's unavailable. We could definitely see a Gravekeeper or a Wildling, probably more so on the side of the Wildling. That is a Composer. Very interesting pick here, but not one that I am opposed to at all. I love seeing off-meta picks, especially in these later rounds of tournament where they do kind of get stretched for time. Interesting, though, that the mechanic was also banned. And we will be seeing that double decoder coming in here, though, with the Explorer. AWG looking at that Cypher Rush, wanting that Cypher Rush. Even if this ends up being a tied situation, they want it to be as fast as possible. So going with that double decoder here, very, very aggressive. And the good thing here, too, is that you can absolutely carry Tide Turner on the Explorer. Explorer, you know, as long as he's not found first, can be just kind of hiding, you know, hiding the whole time, coming in for a stealth rescue. Can definitely carry Tide Turner on the Explorer. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Gardener is carrying Tide as well, possibly Prospector. I would say Prospector probably a little bit more inclined to Flywheel. But that is a very, very, you know, it's a fast comp is the thing here. You know, we have no decoding debuffs at all, not even looking at those rescuers. Just looking for Cypher speed. Obviously, Composer has that 20% buff. Explorer as well can Cypher Rush you very, very hard, especially on a map like Arms Factory. There's not a lot of room he needs to move in terms of like going for those pages. For a Hunter pick here, I mean, I guess my questions will be answered sooner than later. Bloody Queen might not be too bad. And oh, hey! Would you look at that? We will be going with that Bloody Queen. So yeah, I'm definitely very excited to see how this goes. Bloody Queen can also, because she can, well, there's definitely a good amount of time to kind of rotate away from the spawns. So I would say we might very well be looking at Composer first chase, though, if she's able to catch him before he rotates away. But Composer is a pretty good container in his own right. He does have that speed boost that comes back very, very quickly. I think it's only a 55-second cooldown. It's back before you know it, essentially. So it can be very, very useful here. But we will be seeing, it looks like a bit of an interesting spawn. They might actually be looking for that Composer first chase. Because, well, he's spawning close to the shack, so he can definitely use the shack to kite here. We are going to see that he is kind of in the line of fire when it comes to that Bloody Queen. But yeah, we could definitely see the shack and then rotating to the center here, as long as he's not cut off by that mirror. But I would definitely anticipate a Composer first chase here, having the yeah, I mean, you don't want to chase... You could chase a Prospector first. He does only start with one magnet, but he's going to be annoying. More annoying. Well, I guess maybe the same amount of annoying as a Composer, because Composer also starts with the speed boost. Really, technically, the best first chase scenario would be the Explorer, but it's not really worth chasing an Explorer because his Cypher Rush is very slow at the start of the game. He does have to dig for pages. So it definitely creeps up on you, but heading for him for first chase really isn't the best case scenario. Yeah, we are going to see that Explorer is actually the only Tide Turner on the team here. We're looking at Broken Windows on the Gardener and the Composer, and Flywheel on that Prospector. We're going to see Trump Card, Blink Detention on the Bloody Queen. Pretty standard tail of the tape there, but what an aggressive comp here. I'm very excited to see what AWG is able to do with this. And yeah, even if they get a tie, the major thing that AWG is looking for here is time, because if the results are completely evenly matched here, whoever is fastest does win in the overtime round 4. But we will be getting right into it. It looks like we are actually looking at Prospector as our first chase. Unless we're actually turning around here and looking for the Explorer, maybe? We're kind of heading in the direction of the Explorer, but Rise does have his camera turned around. I don't actually think he saw the Explorer, so that's a little bit unfortunate there. But we will be seeing the Prospector take this chase now, and that will be our first hit. Very nicely done. Unfortunately, we do still have 2 magnets going. So that's, you know, a little bit not so ideal, especially as we're heading into this factory. That will definitely be very annoying to contend with as a as a Bloody Queen. But our first stun, actually, no, we're going to continue. Oh, beautiful work there. Just playing around this window here, but it does look like baiting out that hit, a flywheel and another magnet. Beautiful work from this prospector here. As absolute mastery of the character. Unfortunately, we are going to get terror shocked over this pallet, but what a set of plays. They're standing there, baiting out the hit, waiting for that flywheel at the very last second, and immediately throwing another magnet just to break a little bit more distance. Absolutely incredible work there. We are looking at our first two ciphers basically done. We do have one that's almost primed there. But with the Explorer having 50% pages, that can definitely change. We will be seeing Explorer kind of getting cut off on his way to the rescue, though. I do think this is going to be enough time, especially without Blink, to get to that chair. But yeah, we will be seeing the Prospector rescued. It is going to take this chase continuing. We do have one magnet to work with, though, so we will see how it is used. It looks like we are going to cancel it a few times over, just looking just to get closer and closer. That's just a little bit unfortunate, though. Stunning the Bloody Queen out of attack recovery. There really is, that is just the way that Namako is playing this Prospector. Is very high risk, high reward, working in just frame perfect stuns. Doesn't really always go through because Prospector is a little bit unpredictable of a stunner, but what a beautiful job there. We are looking at Explorer getting the last of those pages, looking at 100% pages here, so that's basically another cipher kind of pocket decoded. We do have one cipher basically primed, another cipher at 77%, and it looks like we've just started a new cipher by that composer. So we are going to pop one of those ciphers that's already been started. We actually do have enough to pop that 77% cipher as well if the Explorer is able to make it over there. But that, yeah, we do have 3 ciphers remaining, and those ciphers are coming along very nicely. Unfortunately, Prospector is going to go down here from that mirror image. Very nicely done. And there aren't really any opportunities to harass here unless Gardner was able to break that chair, which she wasn't. So unfortunately, Prospector will be sent back to the manor, but those final 2 ciphers are going very, very quickly. We are going to be forced off that cipher, though. Is Composer going to take this kite? We're actually avoiding the Composer, but we are at 1 cipher remaining, so are we going to go back to the Composer? Because this is the final cipher. We're over the final cipher here. We definitely want to commit to that Composer. It looks like we were just trying to get that mirror hit out there on one of the other survivors to kind of prevent them from rescuing. So a little bit unfortunate here. It looks like we are going to try and look around. We know that Chiru's decoding in that corner. We really are just trying to camp these 2 ciphers at once. Very nicely done on that mirror hit. Composer is going to take a hit there. Looks like we are also using the speed boost to try and get out of the area as much as possible. But we are going to move across the map, actually. Rise leaving the Composer alone, heading over towards the Gardener, as well as the Explorer. Explorer is here and can definitely get up to that 50% page. Looks like we might actually stop at 45. That cipher is over 60%. We're going to head back. Rise kind of overextending here. It's a little bit of a dangerous position to be in, but that cipher was primed. We will be able to pop that Composer right back up. Beautiful mirror hit, unfortunately. That cipher is going to prime. We will be entering the end game at about 5 minutes in, which isn't too fast as long as they're able to get the gate open quickly. I feel like it's not the worst case scenario here, even if it is a draw. As long as they're able to do it quickly. I think the main thing here is just making sure that it is a fast end game. And that is also what Rise wants to kind of avoid. So we are looking at the Composer taking this chase here. Looks like we are using the speed boost once again, as well as the broken windows to get as much distance away from this Bloody Queen as possible. But the thing here, though, is that even if Explorer opens that gate, he might have to go back and pick up the Gardener in the interest of getting out on time. So yeah, not the best situation to be in, especially when you need to get out quickly, but that gate is nearly open. Gardner has actually self-healed, so this will be a draw, it looks like, as long as they're both able to, yeah, okay, they're both in the gate here. This is going to be a draw for our endgame at just under 6 minutes. So that's not bad. that's a pretty average result, honestly. Especially for, having that many decoders on a team. That really is just impressive. So yeah, good on Rise for being able to stretch it out that far, even if it wasn't, it is what it is, in terms of getting the draw. But as long as Axis survivors are able to, I think if they're able to get that faster, or if they're able to, if they're able to get a faster draw at the very, very least. I think that's how it works. Anyway, we will be heading into that here. So, first two bans are going to be Seer as well as the Mechanic. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Bloody Queen here, honestly, because it is Yukahina. Hermit has been banned, Clerk has been banned. We could also see maybe a Bonbon. But I feel like because they didn't ban Bonbon... Well, we'll just have to see about the Hunter pick. We will be seeing the Explorer and the Prospector as our first two picks. So, very, very, kind of a reflection of the previous match. And that is a Prisoner! Looking at that fast decoding once again here, it looks like Axis has opted to go with the Prisoner instead of the Composer, which has its pros and cons. Prisoner is a little bit of a risk. Oh, we're going triple decoder! Triple decoder and one harasser. We're going with the Lawyer, the Explorer, the Prisoner, and the Prospector just to round us out here. Explorer will definitely be carrying that Tide Turner, but what a comp here. Prisoner really not expected here, I would say. But I feel like the greatest strength of the Prisoner in this situation, as long as he's not chased, is that those decoders ciphers will go even faster with the connection boost. So there's definitely a pro to that. But it's definitely dangerous as well. Prisoner does tend to be the first chase here, so as long as Neon can really kite, I feel like this might be it's a crazy comp. It's a very crazy comp, but it's not a bad one here, I don't think. So I am very excited to see what Axis Wave is able to do here. And we're going to see a Dream Witch coming out here. Yeah, it's a little bit interesting, honestly, that Dream Witch wasn't banned. I definitely understand banning... Well, okay, no, I do understand banning Clerk and Hermit because they directly interfere with the ciphers as well as Opera Singer. I mean, obviously, it's Opera Singer. But Dream Witch is very dangerous on a map like this. Especially, Arms Factory is basically her home other than Red Church. Like, this is the Dream Witch map, so that's not going to be easy. But I feel like with the Cypher Rush that they can accomplish here, might not be that bad. Which just really, really depends on Yukahina. We've seen that Axis survivors can definitely rotate the hell out of Yukahina. So, maybe they're banking on that happening again? But they will really need to be kind of careful, kind of mindful. I would definitely say that Prisoner will be, at least Yukahina will want Prisoner to be the first chase here. But we'll definitely have to see. The one thing that Axis does have on their side is putting the Explorer near the Prisoner here does mean that Explorer can kind of act as tinnitus bait as well as the Prisoner rotates out of the area. I mean, yeah, of course I'm excited about a Prisoner pick. You can see his PNG on my stream. I need to, like, put something else there instead, though. I don't have, like, I don't want to do, like, the PNG tuber thing, but I don't know. I needed something in that corner, but I need to figure my stream layout out. Anyway, that's, like, completely off topic. But yeah, very, very excited to see. It's not every day you see a Prisoner in tournament. We have seen a few Prisoners this tournament season, but it's, they're few and far between and generally don't have a high survival rate. But we're actually banking on that Prisoner getting that first chase here. We're looking at Flywheel as well as Broken Windows here, as much containment potential as possible. We got Flywheel on both the Lawyer and the Prospector, and Tide Turner obviously on that Explorer. We're looking at Patroller trump card detention here on Yukikina's Dream Witch. Very, very standard looking there, as opposed to the Survivor team, I guess. And Envoy, thank God. You know, I don't talk about skins often on my own streams, but I do very much enjoy Envoy over like Tomie, but yeah. Anyway, we will be getting right into it. And it's default prisoner, thank God. Okay, yay. We're very happy here today. It's been Dazai like every single time that prisoner's been picked. It's not. That's normal. That's beautiful normal Luca Balsa. But anyway, we are looking for a target here. It looks like Yukikina might actually be turned around looking for that Explorer. Unfortunately, we're not really seeing him, so that's definitely very good for this prisoner, very good for the rest of the team as well. We've got Tinnitus from somewhere, but I'm not quite sure where. Is it going to be Tuna? That is going to be Tuna on the Lawyer. Lawyer definitely not a bad first chase here, but the real thing is that it's not going to be easy to catch up to him. Even with Patroller, I would definitely expect to see that Patroller sooner than later, but it looks like Yukikina is just trying to get all his ducks in a row with these followers before bringing that Patroller out. But yeah, I would say looks like we're waiting on that first hit to go through to deploy the Patroller. That was a leech hit, so a Patroller would definitely be good at about this time. Please, Patroller? Where it looks like we're not going to be using the Patroller yet. Otto is also here ready to support. Now the Patroller comes out. It was a lot of waiting here on the Patroller. But with Otto here to support, I feel like that Patroller is really not going to be able to do nearly as much as it would otherwise. Beautiful pullback there right before reaching the Lawyer, getting knocked out of that attack. Will we be able to get this hit here? No, it looks like Patroller might actually be disappearing, but we have a second Patroller coming out here from the spawn follower. That is the beauty of the Dream Witch here. Unfortunately, it looks like we're nearly at 3 ciphers remaining. My bad. Yeah, we're at 3 ciphers remaining with that 90. Okay, yeah, we are finishing that cipher up pretty soon, and we're opening up immediately another 2 ciphers here. Looking at this for the last 4 ciphers remaining, or last 3 ciphers remaining in this case. But are we switching on to the prisoner? We have found our prisoner here, looking for this next chase. A lot of target switching here, but with the Dream Witch, it can actually work out. But we've used a lot of resources. We do almost have the Patroller back, though, it looks like. So that can definitely come in handy. Taking out that stun here, and we're actually going to transition right back over to the cipher, forcing the Dream Witch to break the connection here as well. Very, very nicely done by the prisoner, just to buy a little bit more time. But we're actually going to switch targets again back over to where Tuna is decoding. Tuna does have half health here, so a little bit of a better target than where the prisoner is. And here comes our third Patroller of the match with the follower right behind, looking for that hit. A little bit of a mistimed flywheel, though. I do think that they did change the timing on Patroller semi-recently, so that might have been a mistake due to that. By semi-recently, I mean, I think, actually a while ago, so maybe not. Anyway, a bit of a mistimed flywheel in order to try and dodge that Patroller. Unfortunately, Tuna will be seeing a chair, but those last 2 ciphers are very, very healthy here. But that connection is going to be broken. Unfortunately, I don't think that... Was that the 77? Well, I guess we'll see. If that was the 77% cipher or not. Other ciphers are hard at work here. We only have 2 ciphers remaining. Explorer hasn't come in for rescue, and a beautiful stun coming in from the Prospector there, right on the corner of that wall. These Prospectors just across the board have been absolutely incredible. But we are looking at, and that is going to be another hit there. Instead, well, I guess it probably would have been a Terror Shock if it hadn't been a Lawyer. Either way, Lawyer is going to go down. But we do have Explorer in the area ready to rescue. That final cipher is at about 80% and counting. We are looking very much like a 4-man endgame right now, especially since Explorer does have Tide Turner. We will be taking that hit. Cipher is going to be more than primed by the time we even catch up to the Lawyer. Looks like we're just not going to waste any time at all, heading right into this endgame. with about a minute and a half to spare. Well, less than that. We've got about a minute to spare before we start edging closer to the time set by AWG survivors. So this is a very dangerous situation. It looks like that gate is already open. The spawn follower is not quite here yet. Prospector and Prisoner are at the gate. If they leave now, that could definitely be confirmed for them, but the other gate is also open. As a 3-man, almost 4-man escape. Lim is still on the map, though, but that is going to be Axis Wave's victory. It looks like Lim is heading towards that dungeon. We do have Patroller coming out here, but will this follower be able to catch up? Patroller is here. We don't have Flywheel or anything of the sort. Oh, using the... Switching to Blink? Yeah, trying to use the page to... Or the book to cancel that, Wait, were we... Wait! Oh my goodness, still able to get that escape there. Axis Wave is going to be our winner with a 4-man escape in the final round. Absolutely incredible there. Their survivors really stepped it up today. You know, Axis Wave has kind of been struggling this competitive season, but I feel like they really did pull themselves together for this match. And the level of coordination there was absolutely incredible. That was very, very fun to watch, even if it was 4 rounds. I am going to end the stream here just because that was 4 rounds, and I would like to not kill my voice. But thank you for coming. I will see if I end up staying on YouTube for these. But yeah, we'll just have to see what I decide to do going forward. But thank you for watching. Thank you for coming, and I will see you next time.